Hello, everybody. Mike King here on episode 48 of the Freight Buyers Club, produced with the kind support of Domenico Express Group. We analyse the Trans-Pacific trade and a bunch of breaking stories on the US supply chain. In this clip, I'm speaking to Edwin Lopez, managing editor at Industry Dive and Supply Chain Dive. And I asked him what were the main logistics and supply chain elements of the big, beautiful bill Act signed on 4th of July. Enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, the headline for the corporate world is pretty much the same, right? Is that the 2017 tax cuts were extended, and there were some significant tweaks that include effects that will happen for carriers, right? And I'm talking, for example, about the trucking carrier. There are things like changes to better benefits for depreciation and estate taxes. So if you're a trucking provider that is looking, to potentially pass on your business to the next generation, right? There's a little bit better long-term planning for that. But there are also a lot, I think, from a supply chain standpoint, a lot of rescissions for a lot of industrial policy programs that were started under previous administrations. Things like the tax credit incentivizing consumers to buy electric vehicles, that's being phased out faster than usual, right? Clean energy supply chains overall, they took a big hit. And, all the way down to the electricity generators, the utilities, a lot of their tax cuts have been efforts. So you can expect changes in the clean energy supply chain, right? Because it's, as you mentioned earlier, there's been a U-turn in policy from that. Beyond that, right, it's a 904-page document. There are a lot of impacts that we're still digging into, but those are some of the highlights. Oh, and de minimis, right? That is probably the biggest one for supply chains.
Yeah, I'll just clarify that for our listeners. So earlier this year, the $800 de minimis exemption for Chinese goods, that was thrown away. Now, what we know from the Big Beautiful Act is from July 2027, US imports from anywhere around the world will also, the de minimis exemption will be gone for them as well. What does that mean for shippers, consumers, for these e-tailing platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. And it extends beyond detailing, though there's certainly the most impacted, right? I know automotive suppliers that use de minimis to bring in a few goods at a time, right? For parts and repairs for their maintenance equipment and whatnot. But certainly de minimis will end as of 2027, right? And it really means that supply chains that relied on it as a business model, they will have to change too. Fortunately, or maybe silver lining in a way, is that the writing has been on the wall for over a year now. So people have started already to look at what that new model should look like and hopefully start to plan ahead of 2027. Our senior reporter, Max Garland, for example, he's covered that some companies are already exploring alternatives, such as using other custom provisions that, maybe give benefits for imports under 2,500 rather than 800, right? Or using ocean over air to bring in more goods at once, right? To get that cost benefit that you may lose from customs clearance, and setting up a local fulfillment model to go with it. So more traditional models for sure. We're watching how individual companies respond, especially the big e-tailers. And we're also watching how companies like Shein and Temu respond, right? Which were some of the bigger Chinese companies that were benefiting from the de minimis policies.
If you like this clip, please do like, follow, or subscribe, or go to the freightbuyersbook.com and sign up for email alerts. Thanks for listening.